Yo, how we doing? So today we had a little bit of a interesting day. So I don't know. Let me know how you guys did today trading, or what your thoughts were going into the day. But the first thing I want to kind of just pull up is just what we had on the news today. And today's Wednesday, obviously. We had the FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. And typically, I find with the FOMC meeting minutes or just the real FOMC, I just have a weird. I don't have much conviction going into the market in the mornings, and I never really find many setups. So today would have been a day that I kind of would have been happy to just not look at the charts at all, which might sound a little bit crazy to just not look at the charts, but in all reality, today would have been a day that there wasn't really an expectation for a great opportunity. Not saying that you couldn't find a trade, but the main topic I want to go over today is really just about conviction with trades, right? And I'll go over, I'm floating a trade right here on paper, and I'll go over why I'm floating that trade, the thought process behind it, and yeah, so we'll go over that later. But really, just talking about the market. And I do apologize, I am getting a little bit sick, I think, sadly. So that's going to be kind of annoying. If I get decently sick tomorrow, if I'm like more sick, this is just a heads up. If I don't take a trade tomorrow and I'm more sick, there will not be a video. But if I do take a trade, I'll come on and make a quick video even if I'm sick. So going into the day, something I want you guys to recognize, because even though I currently am not profitable, I do know that I can provide a lot of value with this charting, this recap of the market today, because of just prior experience, right? I'm going to get rid of this blue line. So underneath us, we have this daily fair value gap, this daily low that I wanted to see get traded to. And we also have this, obviously we have a 4-hour imbalance underneath it. But we have a lot of buy side or sell side liquidity down here on this fair value gap that I would really like to see us come down and grab at some point and maybe be a target. Relative equal lows here because we did not sweep it the low of day yesterday. We kind of came down close. So there's a lot of liquidity resting underneath this low, especially with this another low put in. At this point, if we get an opportunity, I will take a live trade here if we get a good opportunity, but we need something to set up, and I'll take it live, but there's nothing set up yet. But where I wanted to get into today was, notice how yesterday's price action, yesterday we had all right price action, actually pretty decent. I found my trade in this window here on the 15-minute. I found an opportunity here to go long up into this imbalance, which I was expecting. And then we sold off, and I was expecting to keep going lower through this low, right? We had an SMT here. We have an SMT on the higher time frame, and we kind of consolidated, and we were displacing lower. So I wanted to see more structure, right? The overnight session came in, and it's chop fest. We're bouncing off the new day opening gap very well from that day. We just respected once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, pushed through it, and now we've kind of just been in this area. So whenever you see a range like this, a choppy range, especially on the 15-minute, it's really not wise to look for any setup until a high or a low has been taken, because in here, if price is already doing this snake movement right here and just like consolidating, right, and there's just a bunch of these candles that don't really make sense, you're not really sweeping highs, you're failing to take lows, and you're consolidating, price is inefficient, and the market's telling you to stand back and kind of calm down and not really try and force any opportunity, right? Notice how after market opens, when we take this high, we get some more price movement, and we sweep out London and Asian low. We still leave this low, and now we've added to the liquidity pool, but notice how much more efficient the price is here. Look at the 5-minute candles here in this consolidated range compared to when we actually finally go take a liquidity pool we get displacement lower, we hold the imbalance, we go lower, we take out London or Asia and London low. Sadly, we couldn't keep coming down all the way down here, but this price action is a little bit more efficient, right? So if you wanted to look for an opportunity, it would make more sense after taking the highs, right? Because before that, trading to the high was a little bit risky, right? The only confidence we could have had was because we ran this last imbalance to the downside, this 5-minute bearish. So I'll highlight this. We do end up running this imbalance finally to the upside at near market open, right? So that's the only confluence that we could go higher. Other than that, we have no real clear reason to go higher or lower. So that makes every single trade that you take automatically lower probability. So that's one really solid piece of advice I would definitely say to everyone, that doesn't matter how good or bad you are at trading, that you can look at this when you're trading these concepts and realize that when we're here, live time, market open was around here. This was like 9:45, right? The macro opened up. You have no idea if the macro is going to push us up or if it's going to send us lower. You have no idea. There's nothing in price telling you what to do, because we just are chopping between an internal high and internal low, and we're just chopping back and forth, and then eventually we pick a direction. Even with the direction we choose, we're still sloppy in here, right? We're holding this 5-minute balance, but kind of bad. We're really sloppy. We don't even resweep this low. So if I drop on the 1 minute, right, this is that area here. We get this big move down out of nowhere. We just sweep out this irrelevant low. We have no fair value gap we're delivering from. Besides this 1 hour imbalance, we had a 1 hour imbalance right here that we are continuously holding right here, that we were holding off market open. This was at 9 and 10. But we get this move down. We don't really rebalance to any inefficiency. We inverse this candle and it fails, right? When I see this type of price action, it's not very probable. And then we do have a 30-second here that worked. But besides low resistance liquidity, this trade right here, I'm not really a fan of it. And I know that Dodgy posted in his Discord recap, right? I'm in his free section. I'll glance at the trades he takes at the end of the day or when I'm done trading. I use only my own biases whenever I'm trading, and I don't look at anything. I don't watch anyone live trade. Not saying that that's a terrible thing if that's where you're at in your journey, but I do not watch people live trade, and I come up with all my own trades. But I do know he took this trade, and the reason why I'm not really a fan of it is because we put in relative equal lows here, right? We don't sweep this low. We're not bouncing out of any fair value gap. We're still yet to really pick a direction besides invalidating this PD array. There's really nothing in price that tells me that we're going to be very efficient, right? We just inversed this entire gap and we just instantly sold off. We couldn't even take this high. We do have low resistance liquidity here, so I can see why he would take it. I don't think that he actually took this on like a live account or on a personal funded account. I don't think he took that. He probably took it like an eval or maybe like an express account. I don't think he took it with his own live capital, which isn't the end of the world. But I just wanted to highlight that if anyone, since I traded inverses, I'm sure a lot of you guys follow Dodgy's work. But I don't personally like this trade because it just doesn't make sense for me for the work, right? Like I don't see why it would work. I'm sure he probably was expecting to go went break even at this high or something like that, and probably thought it'd be a free trade. I don't really like the idea of getting a free trade because I think that just promotes to people that aren't as experienced at reading price action. It promotes them to kind of jump into every setup they see, and I don't know. Like it works for Dodgy because he has a good understanding of reading price, but I don't think it's the best thing for newer traders, right? So then, anyways, we go up and we get this random 60-point candle out of nowhere. Not even really news, maybe some type of news event. We run liquidity, and then we instantly sell all the way off, displacing through the lows, and we end up pulling back to equilibrium of this range. We respect it pretty much to the tick. And then we end up selling back off, and we take out Asia and London low through here. Right, we leave these two lows, so I do think that will become a draw on liquidity for a later time. I do. If we draw on the standard deviation projection tool here, we actually do get a perfect lineup from the manipulation leg, which is this high gets manipulated here, right? we have a standard deviation projection that comes out smack perfect, right? And we respect it and go higher. We get a little reversal here. This actually is a nice area where counter press showed a reversal pattern. And now we are more than likely going to run the highs, but I think we'll be a little bit choppy and inefficient. So that being said, I'll practice discipline and I will lock out my account today because I do not see any opportunity for myself in the market. And I'm not going to sit here and force something. So the account balance is the same as it was yesterday. And we will move on for another day to trade, right? So that's for the market kind of review, right? But I want to get into some things about just how it feels on a day like this to not take a trade, right? And if I were to pull up, Instagram, I want to show you guys something and why I think that being on trading social media is a little bit dangerous. Let's see if I can do this without leaking. Let's see if I can do this without leaking my passwords and stuff. I'm gonna do it on a different screen just in case. Let me log in here. But okay, let's log in here because I think a lot of times people get really caught up. And let me get off of the people I'm following. Let me just go directly to my search. That would have been funny. So TJR. So the reason I'm going to make this point is because here we go. So with TJR, right? Let me do this, and then what happens if I do this? All right. So this is something I want to point out with the trading space, right? And I kind of want to make a bigger video on this at some point. This is kind of just like a brief little thing. But with the trading space, like, you see what I'm saying, dude? Like, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. And I'm not saying that someday I won't post pictures like this with nice stuff, right? But, like, for example, right? And again, I'm not hating, right? Like, I'm not hating on TJR. Like, I genuinely like TJR. I think he's a profitable trader. Like, I'm not trying to come at him for any reason. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm trying to give you guys a perspective of why trading social media is dangerous. And why is trading social media dangerous? Because I come into the market today and I see this. This is what I see in my eyes, right? I come into the market. Again, I trade with my own biases. I don't watch anyone live trade. I don't do any of that. I'm not saying that that's bad. Again, I'm not saying that's the worst thing ever. I'm just saying at a certain point in your journey, you don't watch people live trade, right? I know how I'm trying to read the market. I understand price action, and I'm working on my discipline. That's the final piece for me, right? I come into the market on a day where we have FOMC at 2. We're consolidating in this 15-minute range, or on the 15-minute time frame, 30-minute time frame, whatever time frame we're consolidating, right? We have no clear draw on liquidity in my eyes, right? So I come into the day, and if I don't see anything, because I personally didn't see any opportunity to trade, and that's fine. So I don't see any opportunity to trade, right? And what happens when I go on my phone, and then I pull up social media, right? What happens when I go on my phone? I did my job today, not seeing anything I like to see, and I'm confident that there was no trade for me, right? I'm not saying there wasn't a trade for you or for anyone else. I'm saying for me, how I read the market, right? There was no opportunity. And the hardest thing with no opportunity in the market for your given strategy is that it makes you feel like you can't read the market, right? And sometimes it still happens to me because sometimes I'll get into the day, right? I'll go on to TradingView, right? And I'll be like, okay, I'll be looking at the chart and I'll get on. Okay, so let's go to NQ, right? We'll go on the NQ chart, and I'll be sitting here looking at price action. Okay, we're in this bearish imbalance. We just swept liquidity. You know what I mean? Like when I was first starting, I would concern myself with where's the market going constantly, or if I couldn't understand which way the market was going, I would feel like I couldn't read price, or I didn't know what was happening, or I was supposed to, and I was doing something wrong, right? I'm not saying that every single time you don't know what the market's doing, that's not your fault, or that you aren't supposed to. But what I'm trying to get to is that a lot of times in the market, you actually don't need to know what's happening. You don't need to find a trade, right? Early in the morning here, around 9, 10, whatever, I did not need to find a trade here. If I found one and it worked and I had conviction, great, right? It's all about building conviction. So my point being, again, is if I go onto Instagram and I didn't have a trading day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, was there something wrong with me? It takes time. Trust me, it takes time to get to the point where taking no trades doesn't make you feel like you don't know how to trade. Because for me, I used to feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't find a trade. I don't know what I'm doing. Nowadays, the problem with not taking trades isn't that I start panicking about knowing what I'm doing or not. It's just about forcing things. I get impatient. I get greedy. And I'm like, okay, let me try this. Let me try that, right? And I do sometimes get to the point where if I can't find a trade, or if I didn't have confidence in something, it makes me feel like, oh, why didn't I have confidence in this? Like, was there something wrong with my eye today? Was there something wrong? Like, why didn't I have confidence in this trade that clearly people liked? Again, trading Instagram, bro. Once again, not hating on TGR. I mess with TGR. I like what he's doing for the trading space. He's changed a lot of stuff. He really has. And I started watching his stuff when I first started. But when you have a trading day like today and you were not finding any trades, right? And you go on and you go on Instagram. He has 400,000 followers. He's a lot of stinking followers on Instagram. And you go on his story. Let's hope there's no music. Okay, but it's not playing. I don't know if this was a joke or not. Like, I don't know if this is a joke or not, because this is kind of, this would be crazy if this is real. There's executions. But then he has and I'm going to try and blur that out for the YouTube. Then he has this trade here, and I'll pull up this trade because it doesn't make any sense, right? I'll show you guys where he took the trade. Let me see that real quick. He took the trade at like here on the yes, and I'll kind of highlight that real quick. He took this trade, right? Bullish. So TJR took this trade right here. In my eyes, I have no idea what's happening here besides let's see what we got, right? We have a 15-minute balance. We swept out liquidity. Cool, right? This trade here, again, I'm not saying that it can't work or shouldn't have worked. I'm not saying any of that. It's just where I don't see opportunity in the market, someone else does, right? This is what I'm trying to get to. I'm taking a long time, kind of having a hard time explaining it, right? I'm trying to get to a point here, which is just what it is, right? The fact of the matter is that you can, with the trading space, right? With the trading space, and I'm just picking on TGR as an example, not picking on him, but I'm using him as an example because it happened today. I was looking at his story. And it makes me always want to just get off of Instagram and stop looking at these people's stuff. Because if you're less experienced, you see the lifestyle, you see the cars, you see this, and you're like, wow, I want to do that too. Or I wish maybe my own thing, whatever you're into that you want to buy, or whatever type of money, or just the freedom or the money or whatever you want, right? Maybe not his exact lifestyle. Maybe you don't want to do BTJR. Maybe you don't like exactly what he likes. But my point being is you see the followers, you see the cars, you see the money he makes, and then you click on his thing, and then he tells you this. It has a link here. It says, learn to trade from me on a day where you didn't see a trade, and now you're thinking, oh, like, do I need to start looking at what he's doing? Like, I couldn't find a trade today, so maybe my strategy doesn't work, or maybe what I'm looking for doesn't present itself, or maybe like I'm not reading the markets good anymore, or maybe whatever, and you get all these thoughts. And it's almost like you forget about yesterday or the day before yesterday or whenever the last time you took a good trade was. It's almost like you forget that you actually know what you're doing, right? And it's so easy because today where I don't see opportunity, someone can find opportunity. So my point being is take everything you see online with a grain of salt. Take any trade that someone places with a grain of salt because there's no reason to always be finding trades. Like, it has nothing to do with your skill level if you can't find a trade. Sometimes it does. But if you find a day where you're like, you know what, I don't have confidence taking anything. Because I can tell you right now, conviction, and Justin, this is Justin speaking through me, right? Conviction is all that matters when you're trading. If you don't have conviction in a setup, it can look good all you want, right? Just like this trade I'm floating on the, let me see, on the Top Step practice. I took this trade, right? And I didn't have any conviction in the setup, right? I didn't have conviction in the setup here, right? I didn't have conviction in this setup, and it just stopped me out, so that's unfortunate. But it stopped me out here. But I got in on this candle here. I'll show the executions, right? We got in on this candle here because we were in this 5-minute imbalance after displacing lower. We were in this 5-minute imbalance after sweeping liquidity. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take this 5-minute imbalance, put my stop loss around here, and I'm going to target my first TP at this low and my next TP here. Right? It didn't play out, or it did play out. It took out my first take profit. I just wasn't on the charts managing it, so that's why it came back up for a loss. But this would have been about a 90-point move at the best. So let's see where we got in. It would have been around a 60, 80-point move. So my point being here is, even on this day, right, where I was in the market, right, what's the reason I didn't take this trade, right? What's the reason I didn't take this trade? Because I don't have any conviction in this model, right? I don't have any conviction that this trade's going to play out like this. I don't have conviction to sit through this chop, right? It's not a high probable day for me. And yes, I read the market. I read the market right. Oh, I got it right, right? I found this trade and I got it right. Cool. If I don't have any conviction in it or any confidence that the setup's going to play out, why would I be taking it, right? I can expect price to go lower from here because of the confidence I listed, because I've learned how to read price action. But physically placing a trade has nothing to do with reading price. It does and it doesn't, right? Being able to find that trade and place it has only anything to do with your confidence levels, your conviction, and stuff like that. Because otherwise, it doesn't matter if you can read price well. You have to have confidence in your trade when you place it, so that when you're in drawdown, you're happy for it, right? And that's why it's so easy to forget everything that you've done, right? Like yesterday, I took this trade yesterday here, right? I had conviction in this model, right? Where some people see nothing here to take a trade, I see a liquidity sweep. I see an SMT, and I'm just going over the stuff I remember from yesterday. I see an SMT, right? I see us sweep liquidity over here, lower, right? I see I was in a 4-hour imbalance. I see relative equal highs. I see a 15-minute imbalance with a new day opening gap with resistant liquidity that I'm expecting to get purged. I see low resistance liquidity. I see inverse, right? I see a lot of different stuff that you don't have to see, right? Or maybe you do see, but you don't have to have confidence in trading off of. And what do? I jump in a trade because of that, and I target 33 points. I'm risking 23 points, 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, right? This trade here, so even the trades I take, right? This trade, right? A day where someone could have found no trades, right? I could find this trade. And the same thing with today. I can find no trades and someone can find a trade here, right? Where I see nothing that I like. What can I see though? Okay, I can see this. We swept liquidity, right? We're holding a fair value gap here on the 15-minute. We get a reaction. Okay, I don't know like the entry, why he got in on this candle. Like we didn't make a bullish fair value gap, nothing. We didn't inverse this imbalance. Again, I don't really understand the trade. But you know what I mean? Like someone can read the market, just like I painted out this picture over here for you guys here on this trade. You might not have any confidence in this, but I did. And that's all that matters with trading, And that's why trading social media is a little bit tough to swallow sometimes for a lot of people, is because of exact days like this, where when you don't have confidence, where I'm talking about myself, I didn't have confidence today in any trade, which is fine. I did my job, right? I was having problems on Monday. I didn't take my setup and I paid for it, right? So when I come in on Wednesday and I don't see my setup, I'm not going to freak out, because what happens, right? What happens on days where you don't see your setup? You take trades, like Monday for me. I take trades I don't really love, and they burn me. And then I lose confidence, and I doubt myself and stuff like that. So it would have been better to just not show up on Monday or not place an order and lock myself in that account and just read price action, just see what the market was doing, rather than actually try and place an execution on something I didn't really have confidence in. Because when you lose on something you have confidence in, you have confidence for a reason. It's not going to go away. When you lose on something you don't have confidence in, you start thinking that you don't know how to do anything. You start thinking you're never finding a winner again. You start thinking about all these different things you have no idea why you're thinking about. Because you forget that yesterday you found a winner, today you could have found a winner, or tomorrow you're going to find a winner, right? Days when you're not trading does not mean the world ended. It does not mean the market stopped moving the way you learned them. It doesn't mean any of that, right? Again, assuming you have a certain baseline level of experience in the markets. But today I saw no opportunity I liked, right? But that can't make me forget that yesterday I took a great trade, right? Monday, I didn't see anything I liked Monday. Where were we Monday? We were chopping in this mess, right? Yeah, Monday, right? I could have taken some better trades in here. I can't even remember. Let me see. What was a better opportunity than what I took? You know what? I don't really like any opportunity on Monday. Should have just not taken a trade, right? But that's fine, right? That's fine. Where could we have taken a trade on Monday? I think we had something. We had like the 5 minute was the best trade, but it wasn't even good. Regardless, but that's a day you protect yourself. I didn't have confidence on Monday. I'm sure a lot of people took winners on Monday, and that's great. I didn't have confidence, right? You have to learn what you like taking and how you read the market, because it's going to be unique, right? Just the same way that when you go on social media and you see this, don't fall victim to, oh, they found a trade today. I must have did something wrong. I must not read the market well. And that's the thing too. It's like if you guys see me take a trade and it works or doesn't work, and you didn't take a trade, don't worry about it. It has nothing to do. If you're never finding trades, right? When I first started on TGR and I was watching his trading videos a long time ago, like before he had even 10K on Instagram, before he even had like 5K on Instagram, at that time, I learned about liquidity sweeps and breaking structures and a fair value gap. That's all I knew. That's all I understood, and I barely understood that, right? I would have looked at the market today. Oh, liquidity sweep, right? Liquidity sweep. Okay, do we break structure here? No. Okay, do we break structure here? Yeah, we break structure on this candle. Now we have fair value gap. Okay, where am I going to get in? And I'll look for maybe like the 5 minute. Oh, okay, we have a 5 minute fair value gap now. Where are we? Oh, we have a 5 minute fair value gap here. Let's look for a break of structure in the 5 minute fair value gap imbalance, right? So we get into the imbalance, we put in a low. Okay, high, low. Okay, we break structure, so I'd interrupt this. And that would be a fantastic trade, right? And it's interesting because sometimes very little knowledge can get you very far in the markets, but it won't do that long term because you don't have a good enough understanding. And you're not going to have conviction. And that's the whole game, is conviction, right? If you haven't seen your model play out a million times, how are you going to trust it? You're not. You're not going to trust it. So I'm really just trying to preach conviction today. I'm really just trying to instill that idea into you guys, because I do feel like I can provide actual value in terms of that, right? I might not be profitable myself and be able to show you guys, me doing it live in the flesh because of a lot of psychological pressures and fear and lack of conviction when I'm in a trade and stuff, and all the things that you guys deal with as well. But I can promise you I understand the importance of certain things such as conviction with your model and stuff like that. And I wanted to just come on and talk about, again, I'm not saying to go and follow the TGR. I'm not saying that he's not a good trader. I'm not saying that he's doing anything wrong. I'm just saying I understand how it can be being on the trading. These are the three guys, right? I have them searched up, cleared the other stuff, the other people's accounts. These three, right? If you only watch these three people right here, and my videos, if you only watch us three or us four, I'm putting myself in there with them. If you guys only watch us, I promise you'll be fine and you'll build your own model, right? I learned from TJR when I first started. I learned liquidity sweeps and breaking structures. That's all, and fair value gap, the concepts. I found one trade a week. I was able to find one trade per week. I was successful with it, right? But it was just one trade a week. So then I tried to branch out, but I had the concept of liquidity sweep, breaking structure, fair value gap from TJR, but I didn't really understand how to use them, when to use them, when not to use them. I found this guy, Justin, right here. And, he has a more chill approach to the social media, He's in some nice places, some aesthetic pictures, black and white here, right? He's not trying to appeal to the supercar, Miami life as much, right? It's a little more chill, right? But who cares? Again, I'm not saying he's the best trader in the world or the best trader ever, but I'm just saying, he has a good following. But again, my point being, I went to Justin after TJR. I learned basics, and then I learned about a little bit more. I wouldn't even say complex, but just things I hadn't heard of: SMTs, turtle soup, order blocks. Like what else we have? The objective of the day. I learned a lot from Justin because I spent a lot of time in his Discord. But I spent a lot of time in his paid Discord for about 6 months. Learned a lot. No longer need to be in there paying, right? I do think that it's very valuable to pay for Discord at first, right? I think there's a lot of value in that, watching people live trade that know what they're doing, that actually make money. Definitely advise it, right? Find someone that's really good. I don't really know who to vouch for because Justin doesn't run his Discord anymore, so I can't push you guys there. I don't have anyone that I would recommend their Discord right now, if I'm being honest, to pay for. But again, I went to Justin. I learned how he read the market a little bit because through his free charting sessions on YouTube. Honestly, there's a lot of value on YouTube for free. Take advantage of YouTube for free, right? The main reason you want to watch people live trade is so that you can learn from them because you can hear them read the market. Like I said, when I was learning at first, I could find one trade a week. Justin live trading, I could see that he could find 1 or 2 trades a day. Sometimes he wouldn't trade, but I could see him finding more setups, and it helped me find more setups, which is what I wanted. And then I found dodgy stuff for the inverse model, like just the entry. Besides just the entry of inverse fair value gaps, like physically entering off of inverses, I don't think I've learned much else besides just the entry model because I was pretty far along with learning. I understood how to read price a lot better, just from my own experience and stuff like that. So I wouldn't really credit much, not discrediting Dodgy. I've learned from him stuff like from the entry model, but in terms of like the actual just concepts like fair value gap, SMT, I definitely learned a lot more from Justin and stuff like that. So again, my point being is that you're going to take bits and pieces from everyone you watch, right? I might give you a little psychology tip or something that you might take to heart, right? Because there's some unique things in my trading that I do that other people I've learned from don't do, and I can't name off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's different things that I do that are of value that other people don't do, right? So again, my point being, you take bits and pieces from everyone you learn from and you make your own unique style, right? I might enter like Dodgy, but I pick my objectives for the day and I pick my targets for the day closer to how Justin would or TJR. And then I look at things differently. Like when the objective of the day gets taken, I like to just step away. That's something I learned from Justin a lot, right? And then now I've created my own idea of how I like to use my stop loss, how I like to take partials, where I like to take partials, when I like the trade, when I don't like the trade. You create your own style with that, right? You can take bits and pieces from people and kind of find your own understanding, because we all look at the market differently, even though, right, when the market's up here and this candle prints, we're all seeing this candle, right? But we're all seeing it in a different light, right? Right now, this candle, we all can see this green candle forming, right? We can all see it. But you may interpret it a lot different than I do. I'm not saying this one really has any meaning, but you get the point, right? So I'm going to kind of wrap it up, because that was a little bit of a rant, and I don't really know why I felt the need to go over that. I think just because it's no trade day, I like to just kind of yap a little bit. But I think there's a lot of value in that if you're someone, especially that not struggles with seeing people on social media, but it can get frustrating to see, the guys that are killing it all the time, and they post their trades all the time, and you didn't see anything, and then you start to wonder, what's wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with you. Just keep studying the markets, keep building confidence, right? And keep being patient, right? I'm reflecting back on today for myself. I was kind of upset that I couldn't find any opportunity, because I want to place a trade. That little greed and that wanting to pass my account was taking over my mind and making me frustrated that I couldn't find anything and couldn't force anything, right? I need to work on that. I need to figure out why that's such a strong impulse desire. But the positive side is I'm very happy that I decided to stay disciplined, not taking trades. I did my job, and we'll be back tomorrow. I think tomorrow we have a great day lined up. Tomorrow we should have a great day lined up. We have a lot of high impact news. We have a lot of high impact news, so we should have a great day. And then Friday we look like we have a good day set up too. So 2 good days in the week. That's all I'm asking for. But again, don't trust everything you see on social media. Don't take everything so serious on social media, and understand that people are marketing to you, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the reality, right? So don't think that when you don't find something, right, they want you to think that because you didn't find a trade today or tomorrow or yesterday, whenever, that you're doing something wrong. Or maybe they don't want you to think that, but, they want you to feel like you need to keep learning something, or that you're missing something, or that you don't know something yet. And yeah, you can always learn, you can always get better, but a lot of the things that are missing is just confidence, and that will just come with you seeing your ideas manifest in real time over and over and over, and the confidence comes with time. So you guys, I will let you guys go with that. I hope you guys had a good day today. Let me know if you guys took any trades today. I'll be curious, right? Again, not saying that you couldn't have taken any trades. I personally just didn't see anything for myself. So appreciate all you guys that have been liking the video, subscribing, and leaving comments. It really does mean a lot. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.